and welcome to the Monomoy Regional School District Monomoy Regional School Committee meeting, Thursday, September 28th. And I will call the meeting to order at 6:31. First on our agenda is our Monomoy Regional High School student representative, and she is our new representative this year, Ms. Talia Tambolio-Perez. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, school committee members. I am Talia Tambolio-Perez, your student representative for the school year, and I'm excited to share with you some of the highlights from the busy and eventful month of September. First and foremost, our new school year kicked off with enthusiasm on September 5th, but before classes officially began, the senior class got a creative start by chalking their parking spots. This is the first year a senior class has been able to mark their parking spots in any way, and hopefully it's a tradition and privilege that is passed on to future senior classes. I know I certainly took advantage of this option as I get quite competitive over parking spots, and I was able to draw Fritz, the school drug dog, in the process. Another memorable event for the class of 2024 this September was the senior sunrise on September 8th. It was also another first for Monomoy, and despite waking up at 4:45 to get ready for it, the sunrise and the memories made with friends was well worth it. And resuming again this year, another senior privilege is Open Campus, which officially started up this year on Monday, September 25th. And regarding lunch, the school has a new salad bar this year. In other news, our sports teams have been performing exceptionally well this year, and we're incredibly proud of their achievements. The dedication and hard work of our student athletes are truly commendable. This year also marks the beginning of our varsity volleyball team and our first student athlete leadership workshop, which took place this summer. Last Friday, we held our annual club fair where students had the opportunity to explore a wide range of extracurricular activities and organizations. It's a fantastic way for students to get involved and find their passions outside the classroom. And speaking of passions, this year several students have been able to explore different career paths with senior internships starting up and with our aviation career day, which allowed students to tour aircraft, meet staff, and get the inside scoop of working in the aviation industry. A massive thank you to Mrs. Armstrong, who was in charge of all internships and coordinated this field trip. Additionally, last Thursday we had auditions for our school play, Night Chills, Tales of Mystery and Terror, which is a play comprised of some of Edgar Allan Poe's greatest works. It was also announced that our spring musical this year will be Beauty and the Beast. This week is homecoming week, and we've had a jam-packed schedule of themed days leading up to the big game and dance. The themes include Pajama Monday, Barbie and Ken Tuesday, Hawaiian Wednesday, Grow Outfit Thursday, which is a gray outfit for those unfamiliar with the term, because I know I certainly was. And finally, Color Wars Friday, where each class showcases their unique colors with pride. Last night, we had the thrilling Powder Puff game pitting the juniors against the seniors. It's always a heated competition, and this year our seniors proved victorious. Go class of 2024. Thursday night brings the excitement of Manhunt, another favorite tradition among our students. And although not a homecoming festivity, Monomoy had a run, hide, fight drill today to prepare students and staff for any possible incidents. Ending on a high note, Friday in school will be our pep rally. This year is extra special because the band will be performing at the pep rally for the first time in 4 years since I was in 8th grade, adding to the excitement and school spirit. Our homecoming football game will be against the Avon Holbrook football team, and we're hoping for an exciting match and a victory to celebrate. Lastly, the homecoming dance open to students grades 9 through 12 will be held in the gym this year, a contrast from the previous 2 years when it was held in the tent outside on the field. The theme for this year's dance is Under the Stars, which should allow for a very fun time. In conclusion, September has been a whirlwind of activity and excitement as we embrace the new school year and all the traditions and events that come with it. We're looking forward to an unforgettable homecoming week and a successful year ahead. Thank you for your attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thanks, Talia. Any questions, comments? Ms. Seabrett-Long?
Yes.
I want to know, the senior sunrise, I got goosebumps. That is such a cool idea, especially like unique where we live. Like, that's really neat. I love that. Have you tried the salad bar?
I have not. I actually just learned about it today.
That's amazing to me. Like, you're on a what?
I just learned about it today.
Oh, I've been on like a kick wanting a salad bar here because I feel like they're always running out of salad. So that is awesome.
Yeah.
What a busy first month you guys
I know, it's been
had,
crazy.
Like,
yeah.
Everybody across the board. So exciting. And I certainly am enjoying to hear about how homecoming was. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Excited to see you talk every week or every other week.
And I'm excited to be here every other week.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Talia. Good luck in Manhunt, if you're doing it.
I am not, but thank you.
Okay.
Yes. All right.
Have a good night.
Should I turn off? Just leave it. Okay. Good night.
All right, next on our agenda is public comment. Seeing none, we will move on to reports and discussion, and our first item is the April 2025 MRHS STEM trip to Japan, presented by Mr. Souza. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, school committee members. Now that we finally finished rolling out the engineering program with Project Lead the Way, I thought this was a good time to try and start to get the kids some exposure to some real-world engineering. And working with EF Tours, we came up with a Japan-specific STEM engineering tour, which will afford the kids some abilities to go to their earthquake and disaster center and actually experience an earthquake simulator and learn about what Japan does to prevent earthquakes. Also has some ability to go to the Electric City. They'll get to go to Cyberdyne Industries where electronic prosthetics are made and visit a lot of the great things that we've discussed in class, because a lot of the stuff we've talked about this year in computer integrated manufacturing are all things lean manufacturing, Kaizen, and all these terms are all come from Japan, and they come from the Toyota company. So it's a lot of opportunity for the kids to actually see these things in place and learn about where they came from. Working with EF, the cost, it's over April vacation. It's about just under $5,000. There is an opportunity for kids to get an extra $200 off by early enrollment. In addition to that, we have some fundraising opportunities. They can do an automatic payment plan, which they can start paying over time, which is why I'm trying to get this on board as soon as possible so that there's a lot of time. Also, EF will supply all the students with an individual fundraising page, almost like a GoFundMe for them, where they can send out and ask for donations. And then they also give up to $100,000 in global citizen scholarships through EF Tours, so kids can also apply for those. And I'm also open to doing any of the fundraisers that kids may want to do in order to supplement that money. That's why I wanted to kind of get things rolling as soon as possible. I know that in the past, making sure everybody was protected was a big thing, and I've checked with them. They have 2 levels of insurance that can be purchased by the families. One with absolutely, that covers just about everything, which is a little more expensive, and then one that covers if they were able to travel when they booked the trip, and then if they get sick or some reason that they can't then. Also, EF gives us the opportunity to cancel the trip up to 45 days prior and reschedule it for another time for any reasons that happen, like political unrest, anything like that should come up. But I don't want to bore you, so if there's any questions that you all have, I would be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions? Comments? Just one question. What are you thinking numbers-wise? Students and chaperones?
We need to have 20 to 24 students for it to be a private tour, and that's the way we're planning it, as a private tour. It's one of the smaller tours they do because of all the places that they go when they go into. So they would, EF would give us, for every 6 students, they give us 1 chaperone. So if we had 24, we'd have 24 students and 6 chaperones. And then also, they do give the ability, if we were to take somebody who had an accessibility issue or someone who needed a one-on-one aid, they offer a 40% discount to the aid, plus we would arrange all the accessibility issues that need to be taken care of.
Great.
Yes?
Ms. Seabright-Long?
Is the tour offered for a larger group for less money?
I
Or
believe...
is it framed around this?
I think we could do it for a large group. I think it would just end up that then we would end up with 2 buses. What happens is the price goes up for under 20 people on a private tour. And if you do a private tour, you risk that they would put another school or somebody else traveling at that time with you. So I was really focused on a private tour. So if we only had 10 kids go, they would try and fill that bus with another tour, and I would rather it just be confined to our kids and our chaperones.
So this is a private tour, though?
Yes, this is a private tour, and that's the way I set it up.
Okay, so a private tour is 20 to 25, but if we had more than 25...
If we had 50, then we would have 2 private tours.
If you had 40,
Yeah.
you would have 2 private tours.
Right.
But you wouldn't be able to do the same things?
I'm not sure how they would run that. I know that the price goes up anything below 20.
Right,
Then you have to start
Right.
making up the difference of the private tour.
Right, exactly. What I'm getting at is that $4,900 is a really expensive trip.
It is. It's 9 days.
I feel like it's probably the most expensive one we've ever talked about.
Yep.
So I'm looking to see, is there a way to bring that number down? Because we've sent a group to Japan, and I don't remember.
It's similar to I think that it's similar to the Japan cost, because I have 2 girls in my class
Yeah.
who went to Japan, and they said it's about the same price as the
Yeah.
Japan trip.
I'm just concerned, I don't want to impact the experience, and
Right.
I was just curious what the impact of the experience would be if we added more kids to get the price down per kid, because it just seems really expensive.
I don't think it does, but I could check with them because of the 24 number, to be a
Yeah.
private tour. I can't imagine, because we send 2 private tours, that the price goes down, but it could. I can check.
Do you have a lot of interest so far?
So far,
or-
quite a few kids are interested, and that's with just talking to my engineering classes without talking to kids outside of engineering.
One more question, grades, is it 9 through 12, 8 through 12?
Well,
Only STEM, or?
no, I mean, we of course would like to first give the opportunity to those engineering students who want to go, and then, open it up. I think that computer science would also have a big interest in going to the Electric City, and then any of the STEM kids, because it is basically a STEM tour. So I think it would interest physics kids, I think it would interest anybody in the STEM, including math students as well.
So it's only open to a certain group in the beginning, and then if you don't get that number, it opens up more?
That's what I would like to do. I would like to be able to first, give those engineering students an opportunity.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's how like the political action trips work too. They go with the.
Yeah, some
first-
of them have, and some of
And
them
then if
haven't.
they don't
That's
hit
why I
the
was trying to
number-
get a gauge. Okay.
Any
I
other
don't think it's
questions?
unrealistic to hit the 24 number. I think
not.
that's, even with but it's more realistic knowing that we have a Greece trip going on and we have other things going on in that same window, so kids are going to decide which place they want to go.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, Ms. Rogers? Ms. Rogers?
Are all meals included, or is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the meals are included, the hotel is included, the travel is included. We have a full-time tour director who travels with us the entire time, including staying at the hotel with us and everything. They've given me some sample meals, ideas of what's out there, and some sample hotel stuff. Hotels, look really good. I mean, they're going to be either doubles or multi-bed units.
That was my next question, so thank you.
Anything else? So is it okay to wait? We can vote on this at our next meeting?
Sure.
All right, excellent. We'll bring it,
I'm going to meet with EF on Monday, and we're just going to talk about what we need to do to have a parent meeting if everything goes through and it's approved.
great. If you find out any more information and you want to shoot us an email, that would be awesome.
And I will check on that question about if it does go down any, if we add, more students than the 24.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
That would be great. Thank you so much. Yeah, send it to her.
All right, thank you very much for your time.
Have a good night. All right, moving right along. We have the first reading on many policies tonight. So we'll just start one at a time. I'm going to hand the mic over to Mr. Clark to kind of talk about the changes from all these policies.
All right, policy file AA, school district legal status. Number 1, the word "and" was added, and that last sentence was stricken out. Number 2, regional school districts are created in accordance with state law and the regional agreement approved by the member towns. And number 3, the Monomoy Regional District exists through an agreement between municipalities under laws pertaining to education and under regulations of the Massachusetts Board of Education. The area served by the Monomoy Regional School District is identified in the regional agreement. Was also added.
Any question? Do we want to go through them all, or do we want to stop and ask questions on each one? Let's stop. Any questions? No? Okay. And you probably could just highlight instead of
Read the whole
verbatim.
thing? Okay,
Especially with some of the longer ones.
sure, that works for me.
I wanted to hear him read them all.
I know.
There goes my entertainment.
File BID, school committee member compensation and expenses. School committees shall serve without compensation unless otherwise eligible under city or town charter or regional agreement. The rest in red. And number 2, reimbursable expenses may include the cost of attendance at conferences of school committee associations and other professional meetings or visitations.
Any questions? All right.
File CBI, evaluation of the superintendent draft. Evaluation can serve the purpose of helping educators and educational leaders continually improve their practice. Number 1, A through D was added, and at the end, 5 was added.
Questions? This is great. Oh, Missy
I just had
Whitlock.
one question,
Yep.
without it in front of me. The 4, A, B, C, and D, do those follow the same 4 components of the evaluation? Like standards, the standards, you know, there's like 4 standards?
Yes.
So does each of those align with one of the standards?
Yes.
I love your face.
But I don't know if it's exactly, it's not verbatim.
Okay,
Right.
well, maybe, was it pulled from something?
Yes. It was-
Okay,
Yeah,
alright.
it was pulled from Mask, which was,
Okay, which would mean what, it's probably not like fully in line with, but it,
yes.
got it. Okay, I was just curious.
Kind of aligns. Okay, file CHA/CHC. Number 4 was added, will be the responsibility of the superintendent to see that the procedures developed to implement committee policies and administer the school district are appropriately coded and included as procedures in the policy manual. And a procedure concerning a particular group or groups in the schools will be distributed to the groups prior to the effective date of the procedure.
Questions? What are you thinking, Jackie?
I was just processing development and dissemination of procedures, and when I read developed to implement committee policies, I just got stuck. That's what my face was. I'm good.
Okay. All right, moving right along.
File GBEBC, paragraph added on number 1, gifts. You know, everything in red added, including class gifts. You guys all have that in front of you. And on the backside, gifts for school use, a paragraph was added. And a line on solicitations.
Any questions?
Good.
All right,
File HA, the words "or its representatives" were added.
any questions?
File KF, on the backside, number 4, paragraph about the Booster Club and PTAs was added.
Questions, comments? All right, well, then we will bring all of those back for a second read at our next meeting. Moving right along to FY25 budget timeline. Ooh, this is exciting.
Graphics and all. Madam Chair, would you mind after Michael's presentation if I just do at that time the finance subcommittee report out, just because it, yeah, ties? Okay. I mean, I'm not going to have much to say, he's going to say it.
Yeah. Welcome.
Good evening, school committee. Michael McMillan, the school business manager. In your papers and shortly to appear on the screen in front of you will be the FY25 budget timeline. It's a pretty much similar to what we did last year with a couple of changes. A couple of minor changes. One is I included a report from the treasurer. We did have a report from the treasurer during those year last year, but I've actually included it as like a formal part of the budget process, just because I thought that'd be helpful for sort of financial outlook and review of our investments. And I put the 5-year forecast and the capital plan in there. So we'll start in a couple of weeks with a preliminary budget discussion, October 12th. And then The other sort of major change is that we moved, following discussion with the finance subcommittee, we moved the budget workshop. That's where we talk with the,
Taking my thunder.
oh, I can't tell you what. Okay, so we moved the budget workshop up to November 30th last year. The last couple of years that's happened in January, and that is kind of late in the process because we've already presented to you budget figures. We've all kind of wrapped our head around a budget number, and then the principals have explained and the directors have explained what they need in the budget. This way, that discussion will be part of kind of forming our idea of what the budget level should be. And Rhea has very helpfully put up that the timeline up on the screen.
Can I ask a question, Michael?
Yes, please.
So is that is that replacing a school committee meeting?
It is.
It's an addition to, I believe.
Yeah, it's like the 5th, the 12th, and the 19th, however that falls in January, it's boom, boom, boom.
But it's November.
Oh, November.
sorry,
We moved it to
So November
30th.
30th, I believe, unless I'm wrong, is a
It's-
school committee meeting.
Yes, I think it was going to be the start of the meeting.
Are we going to do
I
it
think we didn't really
like
work that
before?
out. Because we had a presentation planned for that workshop, and so that meeting, we moved that presentation out and put the workshop in instead. So I
I
guess
thought we put
that's
the workshop in
question.
instead because we really felt it valuable to have that
yeah.
before the draft FY25 budget presentation.
Yeah.
But there's no reason why we couldn't have the workshop prior to a regular meeting.
Okay.
If it's the importance of keeping the meeting as
Yeah.
well. I think this will be our third go-around with the workshop. We've got a good formula for how it works. And we know what we're looking for, and our principals do, so. It was just really important for us to move it up in the timeline, so.
I love that.
So it made more sense to when we got our first budget presentation from Michael on the finance subcommittee, has the ability to meet between November and December to go over what the presentation is going to be. It was a lot to move around. So if we have to double up, then
Does that
that's what
work?
we should do.
Can we
Okay.
do that if we maybe just start the school committee meeting a little earlier, have the budget workshop as part of the main meeting, and then move into the other business?
Okay, great. I like it earlier.
We should be out by midnight. No
Perfect.
problem.
No problem. We'll bring chocolate.
Yeah,
Excellent.
there you go.
Sorry.
And then, thank you. And I mean, my only other point was just that what's not on here, but is planned, is we'll have presentations to the town finance committees and select boards kind of as we get in later into this process in the new year. Mostly that happens. And so if tomorrow I'll send this timeline out to the towns so they know when to expect us to have the two. Essentially, we have two drafts, or one draft of the budget and then the final vote. So I'll share this with them so they know when to expect what.
Perfect.
Any questions on the timeline? So one other new thing I'm just going to add is this is also a slight change to the process. Is I wanted to use this opportunity to talk about some of the budget assumptions that we make at this stage in the process when we're developing the budget, particularly these ones, because these will significantly influence or can significantly influence the level of budget that we're requesting in FY25. There's a few items I wanted to highlight. One is health insurance. So we don't actually get the health insurance number until January, February time. And this will be, those of you who have been through the budget process a few times, know that this can really rock the boat or help us out if the health insurance number comes in a lot higher or lower than we're expecting. So we tend to take a conservative approach to what that being estimate a relatively high increase, because a few years ago we got, districts all over the state got stung where they had much bigger increases than we were expecting, and it made a lot of problems for the budget, which were well through the process at that point. So what we normally try to do is align with the towns. So I've been in touch with both towns, and Chatham are carrying 10% for health insurance increases. So that's what we've included here. So that's $570,000 roughly. That's what we're paying for health insurance right now. So that's what we're expecting to pay, based on what we're paying for health insurance right now. So that's the assumption we've made around health insurance. A couple of other areas that have the risk to impact our budget is school choice tuition. That's the number of students that are going to other districts to receive their education, like to NOSIT or DY, and equally students from those towns that come here. So we get money for those that come here, but we have to pay out for those that go out. Recently, the change we've been seeing, the amount we have to pay out, the number of students going out has been going down, whereas the number coming in has stayed relatively stable. And in the last couple of years, that's meant a boon to our budget because we are paying out less and bringing in still about the same. So the net benefit has been to the district. Looking into this next year and looking at our enrollment numbers, I'm expecting both of those to kind of decrease slightly. Both numbers will go down slightly, so not a big net impact on the budget. Likewise, well, charter school tuition, we've actually seen a decrease the last couple of years based on the numbers of students that are attending, but mostly the Lighthouse Charter School and Sturgis and Hyannis, and those numbers went down in the last couple of years, but the actual initial enrollment figures we have for this year suggest there's a bit of an increase. And so that's why I'm assuming that increase will be reflected in next year's budget as well. And then I'm going to actually jump a few because the other number, enrollment, is we also make assumptions of our own enrollment. That's the box at the bottom. And what we assume for our enrollment is we just basically assume that all the grades move up. So if all the cohorts stay the same as they move up, because normally it's kind of a wash. You have ups and increases and decreases throughout, and it's normally roughly a wash. And the safest thing for us is to assume they go up. We do sometimes get curveballs thrown. So like this year, we saw a big increase in the number of pre-K students. So when we had made some assumptions about that, we saw our pre-K has gone up. For next year, if we assume the cohorts all stay the same and pre-K and kindergarten come in again at the same number as they are this year, that will be a reduction of around 28 students. So we'll plan that out as we go into our planning with our principals, what their grade structures will look like going into next year. And the reason I just wanted to jump to that one is because the school choice numbers, the charter school numbers, and enrollment numbers will be updated a couple of times as we go through this process. We have to do for October 1 a student information reports that we do to the state. That gives us a lot of data back on exactly where our students are and what they might be, where they might be next year. And then we also have an update to the school choice and charter school numbers in January as well. So a couple of times it will be updating those figures. And then the last two, just to mention, is around staffing, because staffing is like over 80% of our budget, so definitely any assumptions we make there can have a big impact. The easy one is for new hires, I just assume that new hires for Unit A are hired as Step 7 Masters column, because when we have a vacancy, we don't necessarily know what that person's going to come in at. And if we have a retirement near the top of the scale, then we capture some savings from that. And when I looked back last year, we average around that kind of part of the scale in Step 7 Masters. So that's what I assume. So that hedges our bets a little bit. So if we get somebody really, a lot less experience for education, then we, make up a little bit. Whereas if we have to hire somebody a bit further up the scale, then it costs us. But that Step 7 Masters helps to average out. And in the last, I've saved the best for last, because salary increases are definitely going to be the hardest thing for us to gauge through this process, because we're just about to start salary negotiations with Unit A, and we know that this is likely to be a big budget impact. Whatever comes out of these negotiations will impact the budget, and we know what we've seen in other districts and what's been going on in the economy at large and in the Cape Cod, that this might be a costly process. So we'll have to make some assumptions about that as we go into our budget process, and that will come from discussions with the negotiations subcommittee and the finance subcommittee, and as we get more information from the union. So we haven't even met with the union yet, so it's really like just kind of guesstimating where we think we are. So for now, we'll be carrying an assumption based on what we are thinking, talking to the negotiation subcommittee, what we might be presenting to the union. So we don't have a number up there yet, but it will be coming as we go through those negotiations.
Any questions? Okay. Can we jump, if you don't mind, Michael, we're just going to jump to the finance subcommittee reporting out because it's tied right to this.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Michael did as well a job tonight as he did with our finance sub with his FY25 budget timeline. As he discussed, we did really dig into the timeline to make it make sense, not that it didn't make sense prior, but it, you know, given our opinions and respectfully, we moved some things around that does hopefully will make for a more productive budget season and fit everything in so we have all the tools we need in our box to make good decisions about the budget going forward when it's finally presented the 14th. One of the hot topic things we did talk about was health insurance. Over the past 8 years, or since I've been on the committee, you know, we were always put very conservative numbers of 3% or 4%, and then we're pleasantly surprised. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the reality anymore, so we are looking to allocate 10% in the budget for the health insurance increase. The Finance Subcommittee does agree with that after discussion, and we also discussed the importance of aligning ourselves with both Chatham and Harwich and the towns and what they're projecting for those increases so that it will help alleviate any gap discussion in our budgets. And also that is directly in line with the school committee's goal for working collaboratively with the towns and having those conversations, and the superintendent says you'll find one of his goals is working with the towns and having that open conversation about aligning ourselves with our increases. And then to roll into that, we talked about it being a very difficult budget year. We have negotiations coming up. We are, most of the districts have settled at the end of 2023. So in some ways that's good because it's giving us an outline of to be prepared and what we're going into with realistic expectations. I like to think of it that way at least. So we did talk about that a lot, and it's a very competitive job market right now, especially where we're kind of going back and forth swapping teachers and such. There's only so many people that can afford to live here, and how we continue to offer that quality education and competitive salaries and maintain our staff and maintain our students. And then we also reviewed the student activity accounts, which I think is the next item on Michael's agenda. And what I'll say about that is that we really just kind of dug into a lot of them. This is our annual review that the Finance Subcommittee goes over, and then Michael brings it to all of you after we've talked about it and understand fully what goes into each account. There was a lot of conversation about the revenue or the balance in some of the accounts, where it came from, why it was used, why it wasn't used, how it got there. And with clarity, everything was answered extremely well. And you guys will see the presentation now from Michael, but the Finance Subcommittee definitely stands behind what Michael's about to present. And I offer any questions you guys have about it more, and we might be able to help you understand more if you do, or Michael, of course, can. And that's what we have.
Great. Any questions for Jackie? All right. Mike's back to you.
All right, brilliant, thank you very much. So we have, the other item is the annual review and approval of student activity accounts. So the student activity accounts are the accounts that we have set up on behalf of the students. It's really students' money to help fund activities outside the normal school day, like clubs and field trips and other activities that students want to get involved in. We just look after that money for them, but it's their money. And just so you're aware, this one of the piece of advice from the state is that we should have the list of activities before you annually so you can review and approve them. So there's an attachment to that document, which is a list of all the student activity accounts. There's a few at Chatham and Harwich, more at the middle school, but the majority at the high school. So I don't know if there's any specific questions about these. I will do my best to answer.
Any questions? Do I have a motion? Ms. Seabright-Long?
Yep. Motion to approve the Monomoy Regional School District's existing student activities as listed in the document provided.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? All right. Excellent.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Moving right along to, we had a Superintendent Evaluation Subcommittee reporting out, but we are going to move that to the next meeting.
Yes, please.
So we're going to pause on that one. And the next is the Strategic Plan Subcommittee reporting out.
So we met with TLA yesterday.
Oh, good.
Not much change since the last report out. We just kind of went over our timeline with them. what we're looking for. And then our next step is going to be recruiting the strategic planning full committee,
Okay,
which is kind of where we're at. That'll be the next step.
great. Anything? That's it? All right, perfect. So moving right along to the superintendent's report.
Just four quick things. First, in terms of recognitions, Monomoy Middle School enjoyed a special visitor on Friday, September 22nd, as Pat the Patriot came to present science teacher Nancy Gifford with her award for being the New England Patriots Hall of Fame Massachusetts STEM Teacher of the Year. It included a $5,000 to fund science programs at the middle school. The students were able to meet Pat, get autographs, and try on Super Bowl rings. So thank you, New England Patriots Foundation. We'd also like to thank the Harwich Elementary PTO for their donation in the amount of $4,000 to purchase trees for the Harwich Community Playground at Harwich Elementary School. We would also like to gratefully thank two families who wish to remain anonymous for their donation of 35 field hockey reversible practice pennies. And last but not least, today we posted for a new technology director or director of technology because Jim Birchfield has let us know that he will be retiring at the end of this calendar year. So we have to quickly get a job posted and go through a process of hiring for Jim's replacement. I'll probably ask to have an executive session on the front end of our next school committee meeting to sort of talk about how we're looking at reconfiguring some of the job description. The last time we hired for this was 10 years ago. And, so you can imagine in terms of technology, a lot's changed about Jim's job description in 10 years. So it's time to kind of look at the job description for functionally what that director of technology looks like now for the district and just in terms of updating what we might call those roles as well.
Any questions, comments? All right. Okay, so we just have one more action item. In your packet is a second reading for our MRSC goals for this year. Are there any questions, comments? Looks good. Ms. Seibert-Long?
May I make a motion?
Yes, please.
Motion to approve the Monomoy Regional School Committee goals for the 2023-2024 school year.
Second.
Calendar year.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All right, excellent. We have had the presentation of warrants,
Holy cow.
and so I am just looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Excellent.
It's a new record.
So